The statue moved while I was looking at it. Not a trick of shadows, neither was it my imagination. The 12-foot marble emperor shifted 6 inches to the left, and I watched it happen through the security camera monitor. That was my 4th night as a museum guard. Let me back up. I took the job at the Metropolitan History Museum because I needed money and the overnight shift paid double. $22 an hour to walk around an empty building. They told me most nights I'd be completely alone except for one other guard at the main desk. Easy money, I thought. During orientation, the head of security, this older guy named Marcus with a gray beard and tired eyes, took me through the building, showed me the routes, explained the alarm systems. Standard stuff. Then we got to the Roman exhibit on the 2nd floor. He stopped at the doorway, didn't go in. After midnight, he said, don't spend more than 2 minutes in this room. I laughed, thought he was messing with the new guy. He wasn't smiling. 2 minutes, set a timer if you have to, check the room and leave. Why? I asked. Because if you stay longer, you'll notice things, and once you notice, it notices you. He walked away before I could ask what it was. First 3 nights were boring. I'd do my rounds every hour. I'd start on the 3rd floor where you'd see modern art wing, photography exhibits and contemporary sculpture. Then I'd move down to the 2nd floor where medieval armor, Asian porcelain and Roman statuary are kept before I'll eventually go to the 1st floor. Egyptian sarcophagi, Greek pottery, administrative offices are kept here. Then afterwards I'd head back to the security desk. Each round took about 40 minutes. The rest of the time I sat at the desk, watched camera feeds, and studied for my exams. The building made sounds, old wood settling and pipes clicking. The HVAC system would groan to life every 30 minutes. After 3 nights, I knew every creak, every echo, and every normal noise. The Roman room was always too quiet. Even when I walked through it, my footsteps seemed muffled, like the air was thicker there. The statues, about 15 of them, all marble and all ancient, stood on pedestals arranged around the room's perimeter. Senators, emperors, gods with blank eyes. The centerpiece was Marcus Aurelius, 12 feet tall, positioned dead center, arms at his sides, head tilted slightly down as if he's looking at whoever stood in front of him. I actually didn't like that statue. 4th night, it was a Tuesday at around 11:47 p.m. I was walking past the Roman room when I heard footsteps inside. The moment I stopped, the sound stopped instantly. It wasn't my echo or any of that. These were coming from inside the exhibit, slow footsteps and deliberate. It sounded like bare feet on marble tile. I stood in the doorway and swept my flashlight across the room. There was nothing, just statues and silence. I checked my watch, 11:49 p.m. Marcus had said don't stay after midnight. It was still 11. I was fine, that's what I thought. I stepped into the room. Immediately footsteps started again. But behind me. I spun around, flashlight beam cutting across the darkness. The doorway was empty, so was the hallway. My radio crackled. Everything good up there? Marcus's voice calm and distant. I pressed the button. Yeah, thought I heard something in the Roman room. There was a long pause. What time is it? Marcus asked. 11:50, I said. Leave now. I'm just... Now, he interrupted. The command in his voice made me move. I walked out of the room, back down the hallway and down the stairs. My heart was pounding, but I didn't know why. Nothing had actually happened. Just sounds and just my imaginations. I got back to the security desk at exactly 11:55 p.m. Marcus was staring at the monitor, showing the Roman room. Look, he said quietly. I looked. The Marcus Aurelius statue had moved. Not much, maybe 6 inches, but its pedestal had scuff marks showing where it used to sit, and now there was a clear gap. The statue now faced a different direction, towards the doorway instead of towards the windows. "That's not possible," I said. "You stayed too long," Marcus replied. "I was in there for less than a minute." "Doesn't matter, you lingered, you listened. Now it knows you're paying attention." I stared at the monitor. The statue was just stone, lifeless and still. "What is it?" I asked. Marcus leaned back in his chair. "We don't know. Museums had problems with that room since 1987. 3 different night guards quit after incidents. One had a nervous breakdown, wouldn't talk about what he saw. And you didn't think to mention this before I started. Would you have believed me?" He made a fair point. "The statue moves?" I asked. "Sometimes, usually just small adjustments, a few inches here and there. Once," he paused. "Once it moved to the doorway, found it standing right at the threshold. Took 4 guys with a forklift to move it back." My skin went cold. "What do I do?" "Same thing you were told. Don't linger, do your rounds, 2 minutes maximum, and whatever you do," he looked at me, "don't go in there alone after 2 a.m. "Why 2 a.m.? "Because that's when it walks." I didn't believe him. I wanted to. Part of me wanted to believe the museum was haunted, that this was some creepy night shift legend, that I was part of something genuinely supernatural. But I'm a rational person, a science major, very skeptic. So I came up with explanations. Someone was messing with me, hazing the new guard. Marcus had moved the statue himself while I was walking down the stairs. There were cameras everywhere. I could check the footage. Except I couldn't. The Roman room had 3 cameras. I pulled up the recorded footage from 11:45 p.m. to midnight. All 3 cameras showed static from 11:47 to 11:52. 5 minutes of dead air. Right when I'd been in the room. "Happens sometimes," Marcus said when I showed him. "Electromagnetic interference. Old building, old wiring. The Roman room cameras glitch more than the others." "That's convenient." He shrugged. "You don't have to believe me, just follow the rules." I followed the rules for 2 weeks. In and out of the Roman room. 2 minutes, never after midnight. I'd do my rounds, check that everything was secure, and leave. The statue didn't move again. But I felt I was being watched. Every time I walked through that room, the hair on my neck stood up. The statue's blank marble eyes seemed to track me. The temperature was always 5 degrees colder than the hallway. And the silence. God, the silence in that room was oppressive, like something was holding its breath. Week 3, Friday night, 1:47 a.m. I was on my 4th round when my radio died. Just cut out mid-sentence while I was checking in with Marcus. I smacked it a few times, checked the battery. Dead. Standard procedure. Return to the security desk, grab a spare radio, continue the round. But I was on the 2nd floor. Roman room was between me and the stairs. I could walk around, take the long way through the medieval wing, loop back through Asian art, avoid the Roman exhibit entirely. That's what I should have done. But I was tired, it was late, and I was sick of being afraid of a damn statue. I walked straight toward the Roman room. The hallway lights flickered as I approached. Once and twice. Then it was finally steady. I stopped at the doorway, checked my watch. 1:51 a.m. Still had 9 minutes before Marcus's 2 a.m. warning. The room was dark. My flashlight beam swept across the statues. They were all facing the doorway. Every single one. 15 statues that had been positioned around the room's perimeter, facing different directions, creating a natural flow for visitors. Now they all faced the entrance. Faced me. I took a step back. Marcus Aurelius stood in the center, still on his pedestal, but his head had turned. It was no longer tilted down. Now it was looking straight ahead. Looking at me. My breath caught. This wasn't possible. Marbles doesn't move. Stone doesn't turn. These were 1,000-year-old artifacts, solid and immovable. But they had moved. I should have run. But instead, I did the stupidest thing possible. I stepped into the room. The temperature dropped immediately. My breath misted in front of my face. The silence became total. I couldn't hear the HVAC system anymore, couldn't hear the building settling. I couldn't even hear my own footsteps even though I was walking across marble tile. The statues watched me. I could feel their attention, not metaphorically, actually feel it, like physical pressure against my skin. I walked toward the center, toward Marcus Aurelius. Up close, I could see details I'd never noticed before. The intricate carving of his robes, the individual curls in his hair, the slight asymmetry in his face that made him look almost alive. His eyes were different. Marble shouldn't have depth, but his eyes looked hollow, empty, like there was space behind them. Like something was looking out. I raised my flashlight. The beam caught something in his right eye, a reflection or movement. Something moved inside the statue's eye. I stumbled backward. The statue's hand twitched. Just a millimeter. The fingers of his right hand hanging at his side curled slightly inward. Then straightened. I ran. I didn't look back. I didn't grab my radio from where I dropped it. I just sprinted out of the room, down the hallway, down the stairs, across the first floor to the security desk. Marcus looked up from his coffee, took one look at my face. What did you see? I told him. He closed his eyes. Shit. What does that mean? What is that thing? We don't know. Museum acquired the statue in 1985. Estate sale in Rome. Previous owner died under mysterious circumstances. The statue was found in his private collection, in a locked room in his basement. Room had scratch marks on the inside of the door. Someone was trying to get out, I said. Or keep something in. He pulled up the camera feed for the Roman room. Empty. All the statues were back in their original positions, facing their original directions. Marcus Aurelius stood on his pedestal in the center, head tilted down, arms at his sides. Like nothing had happened. Does it reset? I asked. After it moves. Yeah, by morning everything's back to normal, like clockwork. Why doesn't the museum get rid of it? Marcus laughed, no humor in it. They've tried, 3 times. Every time they move it out of the building, it's back by morning. Last time they took it to a warehouse in New Jersey, locked it in a storage container, welded the doors shut, and found it back on its pedestal the next day. Storage container was still welded shut. When they opened it, it was empty. I sat down. My legs wouldn't hold me anymore. So what? I said. We just live with it. We follow the rules. Don't linger. Don't stay after 2 a.m. And if it ever speaks to you, he looked at me. Tell me immediately. Speak, sir. One guard said he heard whispering. Latin. He didn't tell anyone for 3 days. Marcus paused. He hung himself in that room from the ceiling beam. They found him at 6 a.m. when the morning shift arrived. Jesus Christ. Museum covered it up, ruled it a suicide, no mention of the room. And you still work here. Someone has to watch it, make sure it stays contained. Contained. It moves around the building. It stays in the Roman room, Marcus corrected. We've never found it anywhere else. As long as we follow the rules, it stays put. I wanted to quit right there, walk out and never come back. But I needed the money so bad, and my stupid pride made me want to prove I wasn't scared. I made it 2 more weeks. The statue didn't move again, at least not that I saw. But I felt it. Every time I walked past that room, didn't even go in, just walked past, I felt it watching, waiting. I started having dreams. Same dream every night. I'm standing in the Roman room. All the statues surround me. They're moving, shifting, stepping down from their pedestals. Slow, deliberate. Their marble feet clicking against the floor. And Marcus Aurelius speaks. His voice sounds like grinding stone, like something ancient and vast forcing itself through a throat not meant for speech. He says, "You lingered, now you're mine." I'd wake up at 3 a.m., drenched in sweat, convinced I could hear footsteps in my apartment. Week 5, Wednesday night. I called in sick, couldn't do it anymore. Couldn't walk past that room knowing something in there was aware of me. Marcus called me back an hour later. "You okay?" "No, I think I'm going crazy." "The dreams. How did you know?" "Everyone who works here long enough gets them. Occupational hazard." "I can't do this anymore." Silence on the other end. "Then I understand. Come in tomorrow. We'll do the paperwork." But I didn't quit. Because that night, the night I called in sick, something happened. I was lying in bed, trying to sleep when my phone buzzed. Text message from an unknown number. It was a photo. A photo of my apartment, taken from outside my bedroom window. I lived on the 4th floor. My hands were shaking as I opened the message thread. Another text came through. "You lingered." I jumped out of bed, grabbed a baseball bat from my closet, checked every window, all locked. No one on the fire escape. My phone buzzed again. Another photo. This one taken from inside my apartment, my living room. Taken from the doorway, looking toward my bedroom. Someone was inside. I dialed 911. Before I could press call, another text. "Come back or I come to you." I went back. Thursday night, 10 p.m. I showed up early, found Marcus at the desk. "I got messages," I said, showed him my phone. His face went pale. "Christ, it's never done that before." "What do I do?" "You go up there, you face it, you tell it you're here, and you never linger again." "And if I don't?" "Then it comes to you, and I don't know what happens after that. No one who refused has ever. We've never found them." So that's what I did. I walked up to the 2nd floor, down the hallway to the Roman room. 1:55 a.m. The statue stood in the center, exactly where it was supposed to be. I stepped into the room. Waited. The temperature dropped, my breath misted. And Marcus Aurelius turned his head. Slowly, stone grinding against stone. The sound echoed through the empty room. He looked at me. His eyes weren't marble anymore. They were black, endless, void. And he smiled. Marble shouldn't be able to smile, but his lips cracked, pulled back, revealing darkness underneath. "You came back," he said. His voice was everything from my nightmares. Stone and dust and something older than language. "I'm here," I managed to say. "I work here, I follow the rules." "You lingered." "I won't anymore," I said. The statue tilted its head, considering. "You're marked now. I can find you anywhere." "Then what do you want?" "Company," the smile widened. "It's been so long since anyone stayed." "The other guard," I said. "The one who killed himself, you did that." He broke. "Weak mind, but you're stronger." "I'm not staying with you." "You already are." The statue gestured around the room. "You dream of this place. You think of me during the day. I'm in your head now. That's the price of lingering." My hands clenched, so I'm stuck forever. Until you die, or until someone else lingers long enough to take your place. That was 8 months ago. I still work at the museum, still do the night shift, still walk past the Roman room every hour. I follow the rules now, 2 minutes, never after 2 a.m. But Marcus Aurelius was right. I'm marked. I dream of that room every night. Sometimes I wake up and swear I can hear stone grinding against stone in my apartment. And worst of all, sometimes when I'm walking through the Roman room during my rounds, I see other people there. Guards who quit years ago, guards who died. They stand among the statues, perfectly still, watching me with empty eyes. Waiting. Because I understand now, the statue doesn't just watch. It collects. And someday, when I'm too old or too slow, or just too tired to follow the rules, I'll linger just a little too long. And I'll join them, standing in the darkness, waiting for the next guard who doesn't believe in curses. Marcus retired last month. Heart attack. He's fine, but he can't work nights anymore. The new head of security's name is David. Young guy, mid-30s, doesn't believe in the stories. I tried to warn him. He laughed, said it was just a statue. Last night I was doing my rounds, walked past the Roman room at 1:48 a.m. David was inside, standing in front of Marcus Aurelius, just standing there, staring up at it. I checked my watch. He'd been in there for 6 minutes. I called his radio, no answer. I stepped into the doorway. David, you need to leave. He didn't turn around. David. The statue's hand moved, reached down, touched David's shoulder. David tilted his head back, looked up at the statue's face, and smiled. This morning, David called in sick. Said he wasn't feeling well, needed a few days off. His voice sounded strange on the phone, distant, like he was speaking from very far away. I know what happens next. I've seen it before. He'll come back to work in a week, maybe 2. And he'll be different. He'll follow the rules perfectly, never linger, never question. Because he'll belong to the Roman room now. Just like I do. Just like everyone who stays long enough. The museum is hearing. They're always hearing. The pay is great, $22 an hour, overnight shift, minimal supervision. If you're interested, I can put in a good word. Just remember, don't linger in the Roman room after midnight. And if you hear footsteps, if you see the statue move, if it speaks to you, leave. Because once it marks you, you're part of the collection. And collections are meant to be permanent.